Hey Riley, it's Dr. Scott. I have some feedback for you on your second essay, the visual analysis. Um, there were four main criteria for the assignment. So thesis statement, using details from the murals to support your thesis statement, integrating sources, and organization. And now there's really just two of the criteria that you kind of addressed here. And like you have a start of a thesis statement, and you also have details that are trying to support it. As far as the organization idea, like that was, I didn't see that much in the essay. You just kind of have the essay set up by here's mural 1, here's mural 2, and so there didn't seem to be kind of like a purpose for like having one paragraph in one location and then the Portsmouth Motorcycle Club in the other location. And then I didn't see any sources cited. So those two are going to have to be issues that you'll have to address in the revision. And you'll have a week from today, so it's Thursday the 19th right now, so you'll have until Thursday the 26th to get your revision in. So I'll kind of just walk you through from beginning to end and tell you a little bit about what I was thinking about as I was reading your essay. The introduction, this is not a major criteria for the assignment, and I'm not particularly, I don't think I care too much, like if you were to revise this, it's not a requirement, I think, for the revision, but by the end of the semester, I want to see that you have introductions that are a little bit more fleshed out. If there's a place for history in this essay, like to provide a lot of history or something like that, and you do that a lot in your third paragraph, this is probably the place for it. I don't think in your body paragraphs, like talking about the history of the town is really what should be going on in there. It's more about like you analyzing the visual. That's the assignment. But this might be a place for you to kind of talk about the history of Portsmouth and a little bit of the history behind these murals. The thesis statement has the first two parts pretty well. It's a clear idea that you're talking about, unity in the two murals. And so you have a subject, you have a claim, and I think the claim is like they do a pretty decent job of kind of showing unity in those two murals. The thing that the thesis statement lacks is that roadmap idea, like the reasons, like how that unity idea comes across. So I'm thinking of something that like Dafford's floodwall murals of the PMC and Iron Man game do an excellent job of showing unity through the use of blah and blah, and I never got a sense of what the blah and blah were in your essay. You kind of hinted things in places. There's also this interesting idea you have about the past in the murals, and that it's not really a part of your thesis statement. I think it could be. There's this idea about unity, but there's also this thing about like we are kind of united with the past, and we got these creepers hanging over here, like looking on the action, and we also have down here, this kind of stuff going on. Like unity is definitely represented through like, I think you could probably say it's like just how things are kind of grouped together and the kind of action that they show in the murals. But there's also this unity idea of like past and present, like we're all kind of unified in our past in the present. So I think you have something more interesting there that you could kind of tease out and write about. The thesis statement kind of needs to, whether you do the past-present thing, that's totally up to you. I think it could be kind of interesting, and I'd like to read about that. That's your call. But there does need to be something in the thesis statement that kind of says that this is the way that they get it across through using this technique and this other technique. Then that's what your body paragraphs are about. Organizing it by here's mural 1 and here's mural 2. Like I said in class earlier this week, that puts the emphasis on just like the murals. It doesn't put the emphasis on your thinking, your ideas, which is where I want it. So the feedback that I have here, and you'll be able to see this in Blackboard when you open this up later. Later on I have feedback where you'll say things like, you'll provide a bunch of details, and you do a pretty decent job of discussing details in your analysis, and then you'll say something like, that gives a feeling of unity. And it doesn't, like there needs to be a little bit more discussion there. You talk about it a little bit here, but I think like given the amount of detail that you're providing, there needs to be a bit more of explanation there. And the thing that might give you a little bit more to talk about is that idea of the past present. You don't have to do that again, but just kind of saying this equals unity is not really kind of enough. There needs to be a little bit more discussion about how the specific details are working to kind of unify, or to provide some unity. Do a solid job discussing details here. Later in this back paragraph, we're pretty far away from discussing the images. We're more like, this was the history of the town, and that's not really what the visual analysis is. And I know it's tough because you have a mural that does not have people like this mural. The only people you have here are these fellows up here, which makes it a little bit more difficult. But I think that there's something going on there as far as unity with this part of the image here. I think you could make that argument given these details. And again, that past-present thing, I think there might be something there, Riley. Here's a deal I'll make with you. You definitely need to integrate sources into this essay. That was a major criteria for the assignment. You definitely need to kind of organize the ideas a little bit more effectively. But if you can give me 2 solid body paragraphs where, this is one technique that the murals use, this is another technique the murals use to get this idea of unity across, I think I'm going to be fine with that. Don't need to revise the introduction except for the thesis statement. And I don't, again, if you're under the word count, I'm going to be okay with that. But if you give me 2 solid body paragraphs where you say, here's one way that they get the idea of unity across, and then you talk about both murals in that, here's another method that they use to get the murals across, that message across, and you're talking about both murals in the second paragraph, I'm going to be okay with it. There needs to be some reason why the first paragraph or the first body paragraph comes before the second. So whether it's most effective or least effective, or what stands out, or what, the most obvious to the less obvious, something a little bit more subtle, that's totally up to you. But organizing it just by the murals isn't going to work. All right, that's my feedback for now. If you have questions, let me know. We'll have time in class. Today we'll have, I think, in the labs next week, we'll be working on Essay 3, but I wouldn't mind taking a few questions about this assignment as well. All right, Riley, that's it for now. Talk to you soon.